My mother is gone, and I am now the king. I saw how the people looked at me at the coronation and knew then that I would be a good king, like my grandfather. My council seems eager to discuss issues of the realm, but first, we must celebrate. It is important for people to see their king, to know the man who rules them. Today is the first day of my glorious reign. Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following House Drengot. And as you will no doubt remember, in the last episode we saw the end of Queen Fredesende the Bold, a great conqueror and a great ruler. And yet she passes the realm down to her son Tancred, who is possibly neither of those things. And as many of you know, Tancred is a drunkard. He has taken to the drink since his early 20s, and he has never stopped. In fact, he's simply gone harder on it the older he's gotten. Not only that, but he is also a murderer. Now, it was an accident, as I'm sure he would be the first to point out, but he did indeed accidentally kill Mayor Gabrielli when he was going around dueling people in his youth, and, well, apparently his sword slipped and stabbed Mayor Gabrielli in the heart, who promptly died. So that was a little bit of a stain on his honor. Beyond that, he is arrogant, so quite full of himself, gregarious, so he enjoys being the life of the party and spending time with his friends, and content. He doesn't really have a lot of goals or ambition in life. He's happy with what he has, really. He's also avaricious, so he does love money, but he doesn't love money simply to hoard it. He loves to get money and coin and treasure and wealth, and he loves to spend that. He has a vast wine cellar, and he decorates his court and his home with as much finery as he can muster. So, I mean, is Tancred going to be a good ruler? Well, I mean, look at the guy. Look at him. He's gonna be something. That's for sure. But he does inherit a very stable realm left to him by his mother. So, as with any ruler change, we definitely have some things to kind of look over and see what our situation is. So first, we'll continue here with Tancred himself. Now, obviously, we need to choose a lifestyle. And even though we do have stewardship here, I am tempted to see what kind of things maybe we could go under diplomacy. It doesn't really seem too fitting. I think we will go for a wealth focus. And we'll probably continue down the architect tree here, because this popular figurehead, I think, would be something Tancred would want. He wants to have the people of Sardinia cheering for him and praising him for being such a glorious ruler, whether it is true or not. So that's that settled. We do have some empty council positions, but let's take a look at that after. Let's look at our family first. So our heir, Tancred Jr., is much like his father, a drunkard. He is also a coward, callous, yet forgiving. He is a brilliant strategist, so I kind of picture Prince Tancred as the type of person who learned all of his strategy and warfare from books. And yet, if he were to put himself in a situation where his life was in danger on the battlefield, his craven nature would win out. But he does understand war from a strategic standpoint, He just doesn't care about the people. He's the type of person who would send people into the meat grinder, not because he's, sadistic or anything, but because he's callous, because he doesn't believe that those soldiers would really mean anything. The victory that they achieve would be what's important. The forgiving element, I suppose, is mostly in relation to the people that he knows. He doesn't really mind letting things go a little bit easier than some others. And he does have 2 children, Corneliu and Sibylla. So those are the future generation there. Of course, we do have our daughter, Princess Adelaide, married to Duke Marco of Corsica. We have an unmarried daughter, Princess Mirelle. She's 22, and we shall be looking for a marriage for her. And I have picked out somebody pretty decent, I think. And this was partially on the kind of suggestion of some of the people in the chat that King Tancred would be looking towards the Byzantine courts as kind of a pinnacle of culture, and I do think that he certainly would be doing so. And so I think it would make sense for him to try to get a marriage into the Byzantine lands here. So we will be marrying our daughter to Du Lion of Boucalerion. I don't know why I said that with a French accent. But, Tancred, he's French, so. He's probably more Italian than French at this point, but his ancestors were French anyways. So we will send that marriage proposal out. And we do have Prince Gilbert, our second son, who is slightly better. He's not really a good guy, but he would maybe make a better ruler. He's callous as well, but just. So I kind of picture that as like kind of a Stannis Baratheon kind of mixture there, right? Well, and also arrogant. Yeah, he's a very much like a Stannis Baratheon type character. Like he would be loyal, but, if honor demanded of it, he would do what needed to be done. Damn the consequences. He is betrothed to Constance Drengot, the sister of our subject to Duchess Rosalind, and I see no reason not to keep that betrothal. In fact, it was Tancred who would have arranged that, so. And then we have Princess Sybil of Sardinia as well, our youngest daughter. And I think we will find a betrothal for her, and I was looking around and I thought I saw somebody here. Oh yes, the Castilian heir to the throne, Infante Sancho Alonso, who looks like he would be a pretty good one. They're pretty close in age as well, so that should be good. And that will be a good alliance because we do have some interests here in Iberia. So that's our family. Of course, there's our wife. Who could forget? Queen Sybil of House Carling. The irritable drunkard, just like ourselves. We do get along pretty well, though, honestly. She's probably irritable more with other people. We get along with pretty much everybody, actually. Like, we are very likable. We're just not really, like, a very good ruler. We're just, we're the life of the party, but, not the type of person you would want to put in charge of a very expensive and expansive realm. So take that as you will. So that's most of those matters. Now we do have our court, of course, and this is where things get interesting because Tancred is content. He is arrogant. And the way I see that is that the content factor will mean that we will be often considering what our vassals might suggest in certain situations. And thus we will be doing our best to kind of consider those options. So, for example, in a matters of war, King Tancred has probably zero interest in expanding the realm himself. But perhaps his council would. We've got Duchess Rosalind here. She's ambitious. She may wish to press claims here in Iberia and hand them out perhaps to her sisters, who, is married to our younger son. That would make a lot of sense for her. Our steward here, Duke or Mayor Adilo of Amalfi, he probably wants more power for the burghers and, the mayors and such. So we will probably listen to that as well. And of course, our spy master, Duke Marco. He is a man who is generous, cynical, temperate. So he probably, thinks that, money is meant to be spent. Our mayor or our steward, though, is a little bit more temperate and quite stubborn. And then, of course, we have Sir Pandone, our marshal, who is a recent addition to the council and a lowborn man. So he probably doesn't have quite as much say as some of these more influential people compared to the rest. But he does know his job. Wrathful, brave, humble, skilled tactician, legendary blade master. This guy knows what he's talking about. So although he might not push his own ideas that much, he will be a good servant. And of course, Archbishop Gaetano, who is cynical, trusting, vengeful, and a lunatic. So who knows what this guy's gonna suggest, really. One day he's coming to the council and suggesting that we, build closer ties with the Pope, and the other day we catch him, in his skivvies running around the halls of the court of Sardinia. So it's kind of a mixed bag with Gaetano here. So that is that. And as I said, Tancred is all this whole kind of thing about Tancred, his own personal goals. It's all about getting money and spending money. So any opportunity we have to spend money, particularly on things that benefit Tancred himself, we will be doing so. The influence of the council may get us to spend a little bit of money in the courts and on our realm, but they're going to have to fight against Tancred, who probably just wants to throw the best parties and really, build statues to himself and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of a tug and pull in the court there. Like I said, we will need money. So, why don't we ask the Pope for a little bit of money? Quite a bit, actually. We get along reasonably well with the Pope. So, we need this money for continuing projects in our realm. We keep the heathens at bay, after all, dear Pope. So that should be all of that. We've got few knights, but 10 out of 14, honestly, we got lots of knights. Don't need to worry about that. We should hold court as the first order of business as the king, but before we do that, we obviously want to increase the splendor of the court. We're currently ranked 7th in the world, but I think we could do a little bit better. You know what? Why don't we crank it up? We want to really have a proper court. So what is money but to be spent on the best fashion, the best food, plenty of servants, and lodgings for all the guests who will want to come to the court of Sardinia, after all. Let us hold court and welcome the gracious petitioners to the hall of the glorious King Tancred. Let us see who is first to approach. Duchess Rosalind, our dear cousin, distant cousin, of course, who is an able servant. A markedly disgruntled Duchess Rosalind hurries to the throne. Liege, I have the right to the county of Napoli, no matter what anyone else might say. Will you relinquish what does not belong to you in support of my claim? Well, I would say that, well, we're not going to duel her. No, my claim is truer, Duchess Rosalind. We have held this land for many years. You know, you descend from an off-branch of the family. Obviously this goes to the main patrilineal line. My lord, I regret to inform you that I am at the end of my tether. My vassal, Mayor Luigi, brother of Mario. Who is this man? Someone rather unimportant, I imagine. The people over which I should rule are an uncontrollable mob of unruly barbarians with ridiculous customs and a terrible taste for food. All of my efforts so far have been in vain. It just seems impossible to make civilized people out of them. I am afraid a strong intervention from above is the only solution available now. Is that so? Dear me. Well, I mean, perhaps we should say that, I mean, he seems very passionate about it. Yes, Odilo, show them the way. Show them the way. A haggard-looking peasant woman now stands in front of me. My lord, I beg you for help. A monster prowls the mountains of Ajaccio, killing cattle and farmers alike. Few have seen it, but the mangled remains of its poor victims leave no doubt. It's clearly a huge wolf, as bloodthirsty as few have ever seen. Please send your strongest hunters and save us from its voracious jaws. Take this gold and hire some hunters yourself. I shall fell that beast myself. That sounds like your problem. Well, you know what? We are arrogant, so perhaps we shall go and fell this beast ourselves. It shall be a grand hunt, and we shall be well known as a glorious hunter. Excellent. My business here is done. Well done, King Tancred. Well done. That was an excellent display of your noble bearing. And what more fitting for such a noble man than a beautiful crown? I imagine that would go quite fitting on dear Tancred here. So, what else can we do? Well, we are about to go on this hunt for the wolf, so why don't we see how that turns out first. Betrothal accepted, thank you. Thank you for the money, dear Pope. That is quite exceptional. Emily, my kinswoman, asked for a word amidst the tumult of the succession. My lord, before her passing, Queen Fredesende commissioned my work. I was in the middle of forging a crown for her. The work has already begun, and it would be a shame not to complete it. Well, are we building 2 crowns? Sure. Let us have 2 crowns. We can switch them day to day. Gladly accept your marriage proposal. Very good. And Duke Fulk of Barcelona. He is accepting an education here in the court. Who are you again? Yes. You are the son of that really good knight, Gerard of Barcelona. Of course, Tancred remembers. He might have just been a little bit drunk when that whole matter was discussed. Now, before we go any further, there is one other minor matter, I suppose you could say, and that is, well, we do actually have 3 sons. Indeed, King Tancred has a lover, Maha Mahid, and, well, she has a son. I mean, is it our son? Yes, he definitely is, but nobody else seems to know that. Tariq Mahid is our bastard son, And I mean, we may realize this, but I don't even know if she told us, honestly. So we're going to keep an eye on this character. But, you know, I have a feeling the secret might come out at some point. Oh, another empty council position. Pandone. Oh, I think he went... Oh, because he's teaching... Yeah, I don't really know why this takes him away from being a marshal if he's raising a kid. That happened in the Stiarna playthrough as well. Well, that's fine, whatever. We'll just bring in you know what, Prince Tancred. Sure, yeah, you could do it. There you go. Learn some good stuff, Tancred. I'm sure you'll do well. The monster of Ajaccio. All the preparations completed, I set out with a selected group of guards to face the infamous monster that is terrorizing Ajaccio. It doesn't take long for us to find it. A clear trail of blood leads us straight to the creature's abode. I was already informed of what to expect, but when the massive wolf finally stands in front of me, I can't help but shiver. Wow, that wolf, that animal is larger than I expected. Or face me, you foul beast. I mean, we're not a coward. But, you know, this seems a little bit dangerous. You know what? I think we will let some of the other hunters deal with this, not because we're a coward, but simply to preserve our, you know, pristine regal image here. To the charming King Tancred of Sardinia, I call on you to honor our alliance and join me in the Castilian claim on the Kingdom of Navarra. The Kingdom of what? No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Tancred knows of Navarra, but I don't think he's like particularly interested. Sure, we can send some troops there. Let us raise, we'll just raise the local army. We don't need to send all of our troops here. That'll be a decent amount anyways. There we go. And they can head over to Iberia. There you go. Lately, my efforts to impress have fallen flat. Oh dear, my friendship with Serlo is standing on shaky ground. It's a mess. I've got a brilliant idea. I'll have my kinswoman Emily add a dedication to the masterpiece she is making. The flattered dedicatee will be deeply touched by my generosity and munificence, and will have no choice but to like me more. You know what, Serlo? Yeah, sure. Let's make a new friend. To Serlo. Good to meet you, my friend. So while our troops are sent off to war, we do have something in court here. What is this? Dedicated tutor. My aunt Wilmo approaches me with concern regarding the state of our educational materials. We can make do, but imagine the heights our children could reach if only we had better materials. Of course you shall have the funds. Why not make this court one of great education? In fact, you know, we should probably make sure that we have some other court positions filled out after all. Maybe an antiquarian? Yes, you seem like you could be a good man for that job. Well, every king needs a food taster, doesn't they? Perhaps Luca here. Yes, you can be our food taster. And Royal Architect, that seems like an important job. Mayor Bohemond. Yes, there you go. What else? Anything else important here? Seneschal? Yes, I suppose we could have a Seneschal. Eugenia? You seem quite fitting for the job. There we go. Now we have some court positions filled out. We want to have a glorious court after all. So there we go. Our troops are at war. We should celebrate this glorious war by hosting an exotic feast. Ah, yes, why not? Let us host a feast, and we're not feeling so stressful anymore. The guests are gathered in the great hall, lords and ladies from near and far reaches of the realm. The mood is bright, and spirits are high as the feasts begin. And spirits are definitely going to be making their way into King Tancred's belly, that's for sure. Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends, indeed. Oh, who is this? A trained healer. Possessed, strong herbalist. Wouldn't mind having her in the courts. 45? You could prove useful. We can afford it. I know what I said. I just don't understand why you find it so funny. Mayor Behemond cocks his head to the side while I withhold my chortle. I haven't told him that what he said could have been interpreted as something lewd. If you squeeze the head, a thick substance will pour out. I may not be alone in thinking this is funny either. Mayor Kamita spat out some of his drink when the mayor repeated himself. The two could share the same kind of crude humor as I, or they could be offended by it. I won't know what either thinks unless I speak up. Of course, Tancred has a crude sense of humor. Repeat what you said, but slowly. Really think about it. Hopefully they do share the same kind of humor. They do, they find it funny. And now we can make a good friendship here as well. Disaster strikes, my lord, the wine. We cracked open the next barrel. It has gone bad. It has all gone bad. The feast is still raging, but without drink, the mood is sure to dwindle at a cruel pace. The wine merchant should still be in town. Quick, find him. Take as much money as you need. A lot, actually, but, well, what's money but to be spent, am I right? Oh, wow, our funds have significantly gone down. That's mighty concerning. With everyone headed home with bellies full of exotic delicacies, I am proud to say that the feast was a success. I have my wife Sybil to thank for much of it, and I feel nothing but gratitude as we see the last few guests off. Plenty of prestige. That is just absolutely wonderful. What is this court event here? A courtier scorned. Why would you honor that spawn of hell, Eugenia, with a position at court and not me? My knight Kenlachen is livid. Oh, Kenlachen. Apparently he had been certain the honor would befall to him and no one else. Well, you're right. You do deserve a position. And if you are going to act like a fool, then maybe we should pay you to be a fool, Kenlachen. You can be our new court jester. So our troops here are landing in Navarra. Seems like things are mostly taken care of here. Honestly, maybe we'll just try to meet up with the forces of Castile, perhaps. Well, let's siege the barony here. Might get into a battle, but we are being led by the good Knight Luca. So I'm sure this will go pretty well. Inspiration, a fellow connoisseur. My vassal mare Gofrey to cost me. Well met, liege. I have heard tell of your patronage of Emily the metalsmith. They say she is forging a crown worthy of a king. Please take this and give it to her. I wouldn't want to miss the chance to aid in the creation of a masterpiece. Gofrey has interest in many things, and among them is precious artifacts and the mines which produce them. How generous. Oh, I'll make sure she gets it. And perhaps we'll just simply forget along the way. There we go. Battle 1. Don't think there was much to be concerned with there. Indeed, they didn't even have any knights in. Of course, led by Kenlachen in his fanciful costume there. My Marshal Tancred has been showing off a promising new recruit. He may not be as noble of stock as you. Well, few are. But on my word, Boson is someone you want on your side. He is lisping, but he actually is pretty decent, very well. He can serve us. I mean, we would trust our good marshal's opinion after all. He is our son. I am proud to see my son no longer as a child, but as an adult. And Gilbert, although he may not have gone down the route typical of rulers, he is an intellectual man, a student of philosophy and theory, and he's pretty decent at it, actually. So, a good young man who shall, I suppose, be getting married now. There we are. We shall hold a grand wedding ceremony. Alright, let's engage this army here. Luca will lead the army into battle. No doubt we will be successful. And this may, I suppose, be the final battle in the Castilian claim here. And they will bring Navarra under their rule. That will be a pretty substantial expansion for them. And the Castilians are arriving just a little too late, but in time to see our glorious victory. Let's attach to their army here, so we don't really have to worry about this anymore. All right. Well, we're back to making some money, which is pretty good. Combatants captured. We captured Guilhelm, my prisoner. Can we ransom him? Not for anything useful. What is this? Over here, my lord, my kinswoman Emily waves me over with a wide grin. I have toiled many days and nights, and finally my work is done. She presents me with an object wrapped in cloth, and I lift the fabric and my eyes go wide. A beautiful crown of excellent craftsmanship. The crown is forged from silver and adorned with intricate filigree. Well, that is just lovely. Let's put it on right now, shall we? Emily's crown. Extra prestige, a decent amount, plus 0.18. And building construction costs. That is pretty nice. Although, obviously, we're not going to call it Emily's crown. It's the crown of King Tancred. There we are. The crown of King Tancred. All shall behold our glory. So while we wait till this war is done, we shall continue just doing as Tancred does, really. Why don't we... Oh, what is this? I was traveling at night with a group of people. We were all in a hurry. We must move with haste or else they'll catch us, someone said. Suddenly there were screams and fire. Ambush, run for it, someone shouts. Too late. The next thing I knew, I was hit with several arrows and began bleeding profusely and losing consciousness. And then I woke up. What a nightmare. Oh dear. A dream of our own death. That is truly terrifying. You know what? After that, I think we should probably indulge in some drink. Because, that kind of dream, that'll stick with you, that's for sure. I feel better already, though. Look at that. No stress. Nothing to worry about. Let's call for a hunt, shall we? We might not hunt it down that wolf, but, let's look for something a little bit more reasonable. You would think it a creature from myth, perhaps a god disguised in animal form. It was the largest hart I've ever seen. Even after the beast was wounded, the chase lasted half a day. It is still an imposing sight lying dead before me. This one will fetch a fine price. A beautiful trophy for a wife, or it will be stuffed and sent to the Pope. No, I think we will sell this. That's a pretty good amount of money that we got there, that's for sure. Oh dear, looks like something happened here. King Sancho of Castile died, and now His son, Sancho III, is the ruler. Well, we are still in the alliance there, I think, so should be fine. The hunt is drawing to an end. We must mount our horses and leave the plains behind as the servants prepare the heart and other game. Glorious, glorious hunt it was indeed. And yes, soon our daughter will be married to the King of Castile. A new perk? Let us get ourselves a professional workforce. We may actually spend some money on one of our counties here. Perhaps we can increase the... you know what? Maybe increase the docks here to a trade port. That sounds pretty good. We are a somewhat competent person when it comes to trade and things like that. We do have pretty decent stewardship, so it's not like we're completely useless. So let's let this war wind down. Is there anything else that we can do here? We could extort our subjects, but we don't really have need of that. If we get low on funds, we'll start extorting our subjects, but there's no real need for that just yet. But yeah, things, you know, it's things are going pretty well for Tancred, I think, at least in his mind, right? He's beloved by most. He's expanding trade. He's fighting a war with on behalf of his ally. Oh. Okay, well, I just noticed that. So Castile is actually 3 different kingdoms now. Oh, I see. King Alonso of Leon and King Fernando of Galicia. Well, that's pretty interesting, actually. The strong Castilian alliance there is suddenly looking a little bit more suspect, but so be it. At least Sardinia remains whole. So hopefully this war will end in a solid victory for our forces. Our money will slowly build up. We continue to make inroads with the Sardinian culture, because we may eventually, we actually have 45% acceptance, but we can't form a hybrid culture because Siculo-Norman is only less than 50 years old. It's barely been around for very long, so. But having that high cultural acceptance is good for relations. So I'm happy with that. So wait, a misunderstanding. It seems that my diplomatic overtures towards Mayor Bohemian have caused a major misunderstanding. I have received a letter showing it clear that he thinks I have been pursuing a different goal entirely. I'm your vassal, for God's sakes. I do not need to read on to get to the point. A big misunderstanding. It's all just a misunderstanding. You know what I think would be a good thing to do is to get our son a little bit of, practice ruling. Perhaps we shall give him the county of Salerno so that he can kind of practice his skill at rulership. I'm visiting a village in my realm on some business. Before I leave, I stop by a herbalist's shop on a women look around. The herbalist, an older woman with a stern face, looks annoyed at me for mindlessly loitering, but says nothing. Can we purchase some for our physicians to use? I mean, they look like they could be useful. And, we have been feeling a little bit under the weather recently, The drink does terrible things to you. And we've been drinking it for a while. Oh, we're at war with Aquitaine? That's sort of concerning. I'm sure we'll be fine, though. The trade port in Cagliari is complete. And why don't we expand the walls here as well? We will build a glorious capital here in Cagliari. It would be nice to expand the gold mine, but we do need to have quite a bit better technology for that. So yeah, let's speed time up. Hopefully this war will end soon so that we can go back to enjoying life to its fullest. Our troops here are running out of supplies, but the war is almost over. If we can siege down this county, then maybe we can end it soon enough here. Perhaps this battle will be close to doing it as well. That wasn't enough. Alright, let's siege this down. We gotta end this war. And bring our troops home. Not because we want to, but because our commanders realize this. My Archbishop Gaetano has received a significant donation of gold from the estate of a wealthy but childless landholder now deceased. He claims the departed lived a very frugal and pious life and wished for the gold to go where it would be used good. He insists I receive part of the donation. Tempting offer. Sparagon, it deserves the entire donation. I promise. Yes, indeed. I promise the gold will serve the realm. Prince Tancred of Sardinia speaks to the council. I'm making decent progress in the task of training our men. However, may I suggest the court invest in a more innovative game in order to provide our armies with excellent commanders? This is a game of chess. Chess is said to have helped many generals achieve victory in battle through strategy. Ah, yes, I mean, good on you, Tancred, to take the initiative. Indeed, do as you see fit. Here is all the gold you will need to accomplish that. And there we go. The war should be over. Let's prepare to bring our troops home, shall we? Any moment now. There we go. We have won the war against Navarra. We received 300 prestige, I believe. My liege, I have found this chess set at a local market. It looks rather basic, but there are no missing pieces. I did not speak the tongue of the merchant who sold it to me, but I think I've figured out the rules. Hopefully this game will help us achieve victory in battle. Good work, Tancred. We can put this court artifact up. The chess set. There we go, and that looks pretty sweet. So, things are going very well in the Kingdom of Sardinia indeed. But in the next episode, we shall consider what our next steps are and what the council may think, what their own ambitions are for the Kingdom of Sardinia. And some of you counselors in the comments continue to let me know what you guys think, because I will be keeping those in mind as King Tancred listens to the counsel of many. So keep throwing your ideas in the chat. I do like to read all of those. And until the next time, I have been Stray. You have all been absolutely wonderful, and we will see you in the next episode.